Yeah.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
Happy Monday, everyone. More importantly, happy Memorial Day, everyone. Hope everyone had a happy, safe holiday weekend. This is the Sports Hounds, exclusively on a2dradio.com. Frank Vesby's producing the show. Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, and Twitch. If you missed anything here on A2D Radio, download us, podcast form, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadios, iTunes, Takeover Talk, A2D Radios everywhere. Now in a membership, exclusive membership page, $9.99 a month. Sign up for that. Exclusive content, discounted merchandise, all kinds of fun stuff. Be sure to check that out on any of the Talents Here social media pages. There it is right there at the bottom of the screen. You get them sports picks from the Money Pot. Yeah. One of our newer shows here on ATD Radio, the Money Pot podcast, gambling, led by Nate Moss. Saturday evenings, they know their stuff. They pick good. They pick winners, and they teach you how to gamble, so you understand how to place your bets wisely. So check that out. Get free picks from them. ATD merchandise. As always, we're brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, 2 convenient locations, Burlington and Cherry Hill. Also brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp extracts, blends, gummies. A2D is your promo code, 20% off. It's an NBA show. It's Memorial Day. Sixers going for the sweep. They're up 3-0. Game's just underway. We'll be live reacting. We got a bunch of other series going on. The Jazz will play later tonight. The Lakers, Suns played yesterday. Knicks, Hawks. A lot of compelling series here in the first round. We're going to get into all of it. And we'll talk about some baseball because Yankees, Phillies, it's burning down. It's terrible. Yankees aren't doing well, as we talked about in the pre-show. The Phillies, they lose again, 11-1, but we'll get into that later.
Wow, you're worse than we are.
They lost to the Reds today. I didn't watch them. Thank God. I was playing golf, but I mean, they're just not a good team. It's disappointing. I don't understand. I don't get it.
You and me both, Rob.
Let's get to our poll question here. The 76ers will complete the sweep tonight against the Washington Wizards. Hashtag agree, hashtag disagree. I mean, I don't really see an issue this game tonight being an issue. I fully expect a double-digit blowout. I don't expect this basketball team to lose until the Eastern Conference Finals, until you got to play Milwaukee or the Nets.
I think they might lose again. I think they might lose a game in Atlanta. That's a game.
They shouldn't. They're much better. I know the Knicks are having some issues with the Hawks.
No, it's not the Knicks. It has nothing to do with the Knicks. Atlanta's a pretty good team. I mean, I think they're a little bit more balanced than the Wizards are. But and again, they're a little bit better rebounding team too. I mean, Capella is a hell of a rebounder.
He is, and they have Collins down low and Trae Young. He can get hot anywhere. So maybe they'll win a game. But I mean, this should be a cakewalk to the final. I think it's more or less. Who would you rather play, the Bucks or the Nets? I mean, if Tobias Harris is going to be, he's played phenomenal in these first 3 games. He's off to a great start here. He hits an 18-foot step back, smooth as silk butter. If Tobias Harris is going to play like this, nobody's beating the Sixers, and that's in the West, and that's in the East as well. They'll be champions if Tobias Harris. So there's Tobias again firing. I mean, that's a little ill-advised. I don't really like that shot. That's just a little heat check there for Tobias Harris.
When you're shooting behind, when you get a screen and you're shooting a three-pointer from behind somebody, I never thought that you're actually getting a real good look. But,
No, I
understand the shot can't get blocked, but that wasn't a real good look.
But, I mean, because you look at the NBA and it's kind of settled. I know the Nets are really good and they have 3 superstars, but They're the only team with 3 megastars with Kyrie Irving, Durant, and Harden. Everyone else has 2 stars.
Did you see what those 3 did last night?
No, I didn't.
They
I
scored
didn't catch the game.
They scored 103 points between the 3 of them.
And that's all fine and good, but I think the NBA is getting back to better all-around basketball. I think it's going to be a year that the well-constructed teams, the well-coached teams are going to rise to the top. That's why I think the finals are going to be the Sixers and the Jazz, the 2-1 seeds. The Lakers are extremely talented, but past LeBron and AD, I don't really trust anyone. And now AD's dinged up again. He can never seem to stay healthy. You know how I feel about Chris Paul. So I like the Jazz in the West. I like the Sixers in the East. And I fully expect them to complete the sweep tonight. There's no excuse to lose this game because you can't let the Wizards hang around. Because the longer you let a dog hang around,
right now they've already got an 8-point lead 3 minutes into the game. So they're doing a nice job getting off to a very good start.
I mean, they're absolutely cruising. I mean, Joel Embiid and the Sixers are the best player on the planet. Nobody can convince me otherwise that Joel Embiid's not the best player on the planet. I think he should win the MVP award. He probably won't because of that. He probably won't because of that time he missed with that knee injury. But outside of the knee injury, he really didn't miss that much time. I mean, all these guys take rest.
No, and he looks super healthy to me right now. And if he's going to be healthy throughout the whole playoffs, they've got a very good chance. They really do. I mean, they're a real good team. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Ben was terrific.
I do want to see them against Brooklyn. I think they're the 2 best teams in the division. Milwaukee is very good. I'm not saying that they're not. However, Philadelphia defensively can keep Milwaukee at bay. I think the one team that'll give them a little trouble defensively is Brooklyn. I think they're going to have a hard time stopping them. They'll be able to score a lot, but that's going to be a big challenge. It's kind of going to be watching them in Brooklyn. Kind of is going to be like watching the Heat and the Mavericks.
But I don't think
back in the day, it's the same sort of thing.
I don't think Brooklyn's going to be able to beat. I want the Nets. I want the Nets so bad. I want to knock the Nets out because everyone wants to be all Brooklyned up, and they have 3 guys and then nothing. Everyone was all worked up because they got LaMarcus Aldridge. He retired because of health reasons. Blake Griffin is not jump over Akia Blake Griffin that he was in Los Angeles.
No, he's just there to get rebounds and fill in space. I mean, listen, the big 3 are the key to the team. You got a couple of guys there. They can come off the bench. They can shoot, and get and score a little bit. But it's all going to depend on the big 3, and it's really going to depend most on Harden and how Harden runs the team. Harden is the point guard. So if Harden doesn't shoot too much and he distributes the ball the way he did yesterday with 18 assists, if you're going to get that James Harden and the one that's not taking the ball and chucking it every time he comes down the court, you're going to have one heck of a time stopping that team because there's a lot of guys on that team who can score. You can't just start if you start double teaming guys. You're never going to be able to beat that team. You're going to have to try to keep at least 2 out of the 3 under control. You can't stop them all. Now, Brooklyn matching up against Philly. I mean, nobody's going to stop Joel Embiid. We know that.
No answer. They have no answer for.
But the whole thing is if they make it a point where Joel Embiid has to beat them by himself, that could be a problem. And that's where the other guys have to come in. If they can come in, be effective, and be effective like that, then they have a chance. But I mean, we'll see. The Nets have a lot of work to do. They're going to have to play a much more difficult opponent than the Sixers, and that's what that the Sixers deserve. That they won the division, so that's where it's going to be at. I don't think the Sixers are going to have any trouble with this Wizards team tonight. They seem to have them figured out pretty well. The problem with the Wizards is almost all the scoring comes from 2 guys. They don't have a guy down there who can at least slow Embiid down And it doesn't matter if they double or triple team him; they're not going to stop him. He's just powerful for these guys. So.
Robin Lopez and Bertans. I mean, it's a shame that Thomas Bryant, their starting center. I mean, he tore his ACL earlier in the season. He's a pretty good player, but
yeah,
they have nothing. Nobody has.
They might win a game. You know, I mean, they're just they don't. The Wizards don't have enough. They just don't have enough. And Philadelphia has a better bench. You know, they have better starters, better bench. And
I'm really surprised that the Sixers, like Doc Rivers, he hasn't shortened the bench. At least he hasn't yet. He's still going 10 guys. I guess that was Embiid. I mean, that's unstoppable. If he's hitting that mid-range shot, that's unbelievable. 14-4 Sixers.
Sixers are dominating right now.
Sixers are 6 for 6 from the line, 1 of 3 from 3. I mean, there's Russ getting to the rim, but I mean, if he's hitting this, if Joe's hitting this, I mean, that's unstoppable. I mean, that's a little bit of a soft foul there on Danny Creed, but the Sixers are the best constructed basketball team, I think, in the NBA. And if you look, not only Doc Rivers, you have the assistants like Sam Cassell who really know what they're talking about. I think they're the best coach team in the NBA. And
Sam Cassell was a tremendous player, probably one of the most underrated players in the history of the league, because he was just a dynamite player. I mean, he was the underrated player who got Houston past the Knicks in 93, 94.
Nice. Look at that. Alley-oop.
That was a beautiful.
That's great. That's by design. I love X and O basketball. I love what half court sets like that. You do the dribble handoff to Curry, loops around. Joe fakes the screen. Ben goes around, and Seth lobs it up to Ben for the alley-oop. That's tremendous. That's what we need from Ben. So my biggest criticism of Ben is he stands around too much when he doesn't have the basketball. Look at this. Look at this. Joe fakes the screen, pops. Everybody forgets about Ben, and he goes backdoor for the alley-oop. That's fantastic. I bet you Doc just drew that up.
That was a beautiful play. I mean, they're playing pretty basketball right now.
Everybody wants to get on Ben because, what do you want? You want him to be 6'10". You want him to be the best defender in the league. You want him to be the best distributor in the league, and you want him to drop 50 and score in bunches like Dame Lillard and Steph Curry. It doesn't work like that. He can't do everything.
He's not Magic Johnson. Okay, so if you're gonna try to compare him to Magic Johnson, that's kind of not fair. That's big shoes to fill. But he's playing. He's doing what he needs to do. And
look, are you going to win the championship if Ben Simmons is the best player on your basketball team? No,
probably not.
You're not.
But you have the best player in the league on your team right now. So I mean there's a very good chance you can win the championship. But as I said, we'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of basketball still to be played. They certainly look like world beaters against the Wizards, and the Wizards were a hot team coming into this. They played great in the second half of the season, to get themselves in the playoffs. And then I think what were they, the 10th seed, and they ended up.
Well, no, they were in the 7-8 game, I think, right?
They were in the 7-8 game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, they came from way, way back.
Yeah, they were horrible at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
they were horrible.
And, when they made the trade and got rid of John Wall, seems to destroy everything he touches. They became a team. I mean, listen, you can criticize Russ all you want, but you know what? Without Russ on this team, there's no way this team gets to the playoffs. And I do think that they felt they needed to make the playoffs, this franchise. They haven't made the playoffs in God knows how long. And, kudos to them to get into the playoffs. But they're still a little short.
This is why I can't stand Russell Westbrook. And this is why I'll never win anything in this league.
Well, the thing with Russell Westbrook...
You guys can hear me?
He's not enough... I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not a good enough shooter to hoist all the shots that he shoots. If you want to compare him to, say, a guy like Harden, okay, Harden can shoot if Russell can't, and that's really the difference. And it's going to be interesting to see with Harden. After they beat Boston, which I think is a foregone conclusion, unless Tatum scores 50 points again. I mean, he had 40 last night and they lost by 15. I mean, the one game they won, he scored 50. I don't think.
What is his deal? I don't have sound on, so maybe someone can help us. Like, what is Russ's deal? He's going to the locker room now. He looked like he almost got teed up, arguing with. It looks like he's off his game. He shook 6 minutes into the game. I mean, I know you're off to a bad start, but you're only down 9 with bunch of time
I don't know
left.
exactly.
That happened last game.
Oh, okay. So I don't know what happened.
Maybe he aggravated it.
Maybe that could be it.
Like,
I mean,
there you go. Get the ball. Nice. Now take him. Take him. It's a great pass. That's the second bunny that they missed.
That was a nice
got it. But I wish he would just take him off the dribble. Like he's got a center on him because he's 6'10". They got the matchup they want. I wish Ben would just put the ball on the floor and drive past him. Keith, thanks, Keith.
Yeah, but if he's gonna make passes like that, then
okay. But I'm just saying if like he can't hold the ball out like this forever against a good basketball team waiting for something to develop. He's got to be aggressive and go get it. Which that's the only criticism I have. That's a good look. He just didn't make it. I think that's Thibault. Thibault's in the game. I'm really surprised at Doc's rotations and how he's given Maxey and Thibault and all these guys minutes.
He might need him later. That's the bottom.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think it's a. I don't think there's any
is
other
Matisse driving baseline.
I mean, he's probably going to shorten his bench against some of these other teams as they go from round to round. But I mean, he might against a team like Brooklyn or Milwaukee. If one of his guys gets in foul trouble, one of these other guys may get a lot of time. And at this point, you'd have to say they're getting enough time and they're getting enough experience so that if they come in the game, they'll be ready to play. And that's why he's doing that.
Embiid, I believe that was Embiid, right?
Yeah, it was.
Goes down hard.
They've cut it down to 15. So to 5. Excuse me.
Yeah, 20 to 15. Joe, he went down. I think he's fine though. But I don't like that. Okay. I don't like this look. I don't like him getting the ball in space like that and trying to cut to the rim. I mean, it's a really good play by Robin Lopez. Joe goes down hard on the hip.
Yeah, that look, he'll be okay.
I could do without that look. That's not where I want Joel Embiid to get the ball at all, especially against this team that doesn't have a center to stop him.
Now you want
to get your behind on the block and go to work.
Yeah, you want him to get the ball in the low post. I mean, you don't.
He's already established. He's already made a couple mid-range jumpers, so he's already established that part.
Look, they can't stop him. The Wizards can't stop. The only way the Wizards can stay in this game is if they shoot 60% from 3. That's really the only way they're going to stay in the game. I
mean, I'm surprised they were able to go on this run with Russell Westbrook in the locker room.
Yeah, well,
someone in the comments said someone said in the comments he tweaked his ankle.
It looked like he got hit in the eye. So I don't know.
No, that was the other guy. Bertans got hit in the eye.
Oh, okay. I mean, if he's not in the game, it's going to be awfully tough for them to stay in it.
Let's get to some comments here. George Puglisi, thanks for tuning in on Facebook. Get the brooms out. Is Popcorn playing for Washington? Yes, Popcorn is playing for Washington. No one wants to talk about the Knicks fans spitting on Trae Young or the water bottle get thrown at Kyrie Irving last night in Boston. That guy, they rung him up with charges. Did you see that?
Well, he should get tried. I mean, it's
yeah, but they really rung him up, and that's what you got to do. You got to make an example.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, it's
he got a
setup. What is wrong? I don't. These fans. I mean, it starts in Philadelphia. Okay, New York has to take it one step further, and then Boston has to go over the top. I mean, come on.
Spitting on someone's terrible.
And then the
That's
crap,
absolutely disgusting.
The crap with John Morant. I mean, what the?
What happened with John Morant?
Oh, some idiot started getting real racist with him in the stands.
Really?
I mean, yeah. They had to throw him out, and they, and they revoked his season tickets, and I don't know what else happened. But I mean, what else they did to him? But I mean, it's like, come on.
No, I missed that about John.
I mean, it's enough already. I mean, you want to tease somebody, okay? You want to heckle,
Yeah,
but you know what?
Sticks and stones.
Heckle the right way, okay? Heckle the right way. Don't play dirty. Don't bring people's families into it. Don't get racist. There's no place for that. You want to. I mean, the way the Yankee fans did last year to Minnesota, which was pretty funny when they picked up that guy to pitch and he was an Uber driver, and all the Yankee fans were chanting Uber driver at him. I mean, that's cool. That's cool heckling. Okay, that's pretty funny heckling. Okay, you're not gonna just. I mean, maybe Uber drivers might get mad, but that's one thing. But to start getting racist, come on. I mean, what is wrong with people that they do stuff like that? Watch the damn game.
Especially in today's culture with the racist part. I totally missed that with John Morant. That's terrible. John Morant's a hell of a player. I love watching him play.
I mean, listen, if a guy's at the foul line, okay, and you're sitting behind the in the back seats, and you want to stand up and give him the finger and try to get him off his game, he'll ignore you. But if you want to do stuff like that, that's one thing. But come on. I mean, there is no room in sports, in fandom, to go there. It's a disgrace, and there's you can't let stuff like that happen. And the fans in the NBA in particular right now need to learn to behave. And I certainly hope the Washington Wizards fans don't start acting stupid tonight, because they're probably going to lose, and they're probably going to lose big. What they should be doing is appreciating the fact that their team, for the first time in a long time, has finally made the playoffs. They look like they've got something going. If they could add themselves a little more strength up front, I think the team could be a legitimate threat in the playoffs. But I mean, you got to be honest with yourself. They're not that good. And as far as the Knicks go, okay, after watching them against Atlanta, I mean, Atlanta's just a better team. They've got more talent. I said that at the beginning, that I thought that Atlanta had more talent, and I was concerned about that with the Knicks. But the Knicks, I thought, had all the all the miscellaneous stuff and figured out. But unfortunately, they can't stop them enough to score. The Knicks just aren't a good enough offensive basketball team to beat the Atlanta Hawks. That's the problem. Randall finally got it going yesterday. 24 points. RJ Barrett played a little bit better, but the bottom line is the Knicks have to get themselves a center who can score a little bit. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, give me 10 points a game. Give me 10 points and 6-7 rebounds a game. And I think I might be happy, because Noel, as good as he is defensively, just he doesn't score enough. And Mitchell Robinson can't stay on the court. So you got
he's a bonehead.
Yeah,
Mitchell Robinson.
He's got a lot of ability, but he can't stay on the court. And if he can't be on the court playing enough, then they can't win. They have $70 million in cap space. Go out with that $70 million and get some players who can help this team win a championship. I mean, Reggie Bullock, he was the story of the day for the Knicks. 34 minutes, 0 points from your two guard. That can't happen.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. Not in the NBA. Not ever. If you're going to win a game, I don't care who you're playing in the playoffs, okay? If your two guard plays 34 minutes and gets 0 points, you're not going to win.
So popcorn boy, Russell Westbrook, he's back. He's out of the locker room. Now Beal's on the bench. So the Wizards are having all kinds of problems. 24-18 Sixers.
But they are hanging in there. I mean,
Matisse Thybulle. It's just a matter of time before this is a 25-point game.
Probably, in all likelihood.
Yeah, they went in a little.
I can't see anything unless the Sixers take their foot off the gas and get sloppy. I mean that's the only way. If they have the killer instinct, this game should be pretty much over by halftime. So
now you got Maxey in, you got Thibault in, you got.
I mean, Embiid basically just bullied his way right to the basket. And
that's what I want to see.
The Wizards had no answer.
When I'm playing a team like the Wizards that don't have any threat inside, that's a bad foul by Maxey. That's a rookie. You can't foul. Just give him the 2 and move on. Don't give him an M1. Yeah, like when you have a guy, he just drives baseline, bullies his way in, and lays it in.
Exactly, and this was one of those. I mean, give the guy in the Wizards credit. That was a nice drive. I mean, he got around him. I mean, how about Embiid maybe stepping into the play and at least distracting him a little bit instead of just standing there. I mean, you could.
Yeah, but I mean, Brad. Sometimes you live the fight. I know it's not what you want to hear, but like,
no, I know.
Sometimes you just.
I know. I get that.
Just give up the 2, and then he's turning the ball over. All right, Maxey, time to get him out of the game.
Oh,
if you want to put him in mop up time, that's fine.
Well, I'll tell you what. Give
this is the playoffs.
Credit. Give the Wizards credit. They're playing with a lot of spirit tonight. They're only down 3. So, I mean, it's a long game, but if the Sixers make their shots like that one, for example, there's no way the Wizards can stay in this game.
That's George Hill, bends on the pine, getting a blow.
Looks like Westbrook is back in the game.
Yeah, he's back in the game, but now Bradley Beal's out. So, like I said, Wizards having problems.
Is he injured or is he resting?
He had his sneaker off and talking to the trainer.
Oh, was that Beal or was that? I thought that was Westbrook that they were.
He came back, but then Beal went out.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he had his sneaker off talking to the trainer.
Okay, no,
I don't like that shot. I don't like that shot one bit there by Joe. I don't like that shot one bit. To Greg Malachman, checking in from Florida. He's watching the game by the pool. Probably having an adult beverage, I'm sure. He agrees to the poll. He thinks it's sweep talk. Jake Friel, sweep talk. He agrees. Phillies aren't worth any airtime. Greg is 100% right about that. They're a straight dumpster fire right now. Vince Velasquez got lit up today, but I can't get on Vince Velasquez too bad. I mean, scoring 1 run, I don't like that against the Reds. But, I mean, Vince Velasquez, he was kind of due for a clunker. He's been pretty good all season.
Well, Cincinnati. One thing about Cincinnati, they can hit, and they can, especially in their home ballpark. So, I mean, if you want to go there, I mean, we can go there and just say Cincinnati can hit the ball in their own ballpark, but that is a hitter's ballpark. They should be able to do something.
And then poor Roman Quinn. I mean, he tears his Achilles running the bases. So now he can't even run track like I've suggested he does. I shouldn't say that. I don't like to see the guy get hurt, but Roman Quinn won't be playing. How about he's rounding third to go to home, Brad?
Yeah.
He tears his Achilles on rounding third.
Oh.
He obviously falls over. He gets up and runs home. So he ran what?
So he still ran home with
he ran 60 feet with a torn Achilles, and LeBron laid on the court for 10 minutes with a poked eye.
Well,
no,
that's one thing you gotta respect about that kid. At least he he went and he did what he had to do. That's an unfortunate injury. You probably won't see him. You probably won't see him.
No, and the only thing he can do is run. He can't do anything else, and now he's gonna bust Achilles. So,
well, then somebody else is gonna get a chance, I guess. So,
great.
So I mean,
Travis Jankowski, whoever that is. Let's recall that was the roster move.
Okay.
Anyway, the Phillies stay. I mean, Mike Parker, no losses to the Eastern Conference Finals. No excuse to lose a basketball game.
He's walking off the court now.
Yeah, so we'll monitor that. I bet he's probably got a gnarly bruise from when he took that spill.
Well, I mean, if he's got any issue at all, there is no reason for him to come back, because I do believe if the Sixers can take care of the Wizards without him, and if they have to play a Game 5, they play a Game 5. But, if there's any chance,
I don't want to play
any injury whatsoever, he shouldn't. He should. What in the world is Sam Howard doing?
What is Russ? He is always bitching.
He's always complaining about.
He's
something.
always complaining. What's wrong with the net? It's your home court. Why don't you go out and look at the net in warm-ups and tell your maintenance people or your ball boy, whoever handles that stuff, that you fix the net. What could he possibly be complaining about? What's his deal?
What did the net have to do with it?
Oh, because Dwight Howard jumped on it? Is that his beef? Because Dwight Howard jumped on the rim? I mean, he shouldn't have. Dwight Howard should have done that. That was just like a stupid, immature thing to do. But I mean,
he got a little listen.
What did you think? What do you think? They dunk 85 times a game. Do you know how many times that rim's probably been dunked on?
No.
It's not like they change the rim every game. I mean, it's the same rim.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not bent, and I'm sure it's not moved. I mean,
Mike Parker fully expect Joel Embiid not to need to play the fourth quarter for the next few games. I expect them to sweep. I'm assuming it's going to be the Hawks, just because I think, Brad, you were right from the jump, even though I picked the Knicks in the series. I picked the Knicks.
Knicks might win. They might win Game 5. I mean, I could see them coming home.
You got to win Game 5.
Garden. No, I mean, I think they could. I think they could come home, win Game 5, but I can't see them winning in Atlanta. Atlanta is, as I said, Atlanta to me just has too much talent. The Knicks don't have enough talent. I mean, I
wanted us to have a Philly New York playoffs.
It would have been fun. Of course, we would have gotten swept. But I mean, let's be honest, okay? Other than Randall, who's the guy you're really nervous about on the Knicks?
No one. I mean, your two guard had 0 points yesterday, like you said.
Exactly. I mean, Derrick Rose has done a nice job, but he's better served off the bench as a point guard. You really don't want him starting. You want him to play about 20 minutes a game, and that's where he thrives.
I hope your Knicks just don't sign Kyle Lowry.
But they're not going to sign Kyle Lowry. I think that I could see them trying to go after a restricted free agent. And you know who I'm talking about down in New Orleans, Mr. Ball. I could see them definitely making a play for him.
Lonzo?
Yep, for obvious reasons. He would be a huge. Yeah,
because you guys do need a point guard.
Oh, they absolutely. As I said, you get him, okay?
I don't see how the Pelicans let him go, though.
Yeah, but are they gonna? Yeah, but here's the thing, Rob. I mean, they have a pretty high payroll as it is, and they're gonna have to pay Zion. You know that. So I mean, if the Knicks,
but you can go over to sign.
No, I know that, but how much money? How much of a? I guess my question is how much? What kind of revenue team is that team? I don't.
This is why they traded Drew Holiday like they did.
Yeah, well. I mean, look.
That's where they save the money.
We'll see what happens. But I mean, if the Knicks were to offer him a max contract, would New Orleans match it? And the Knicks can certainly do that because they have
Lonzo. Like you're going to give max money to Lonzo Ball?
I don't know.
Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. He's far from a stiff, and I thought he was a good player. And I think his dad did him no favors in terms of his mouth.
Now that he's out of Los Angeles, though, I think that really helps him because not everybody's going to be paying so much attention to him, and you're not getting.
You want him to go to New York,
huh?
You want him to go to New York now.
It's the reason it's different is because he's not going to be compared to Kobe Bryant. Okay, he's going to be looked at as somebody who can play with somebody with a little fireworks outside. He's going to be somebody who's going to try to play with Randall. I mean. The Knicks are looking for guys who could play with Randall. I mean, you obviously could pull out the pipe dream and say, okay, maybe Kawhi doesn't want to play in LA anymore. Maybe
I wouldn't give Kawhi a next contract.
Well, I wouldn't.
I'd be careful with that because his foot and his back. I mean, he's been very beat up.
I don't know that. Rob, I don't know that.
I don't know how much And Kawhi's the type of dude. He's a little bit of a different cat. Kawhi. So I could definitely see him. I could definitely see him like being like a surprise retirement early guy.
Yeah, well, the
I
other
don't know.
the other thing is
I'd just be
the other
careful.
thing is would he be a match with Thibodeau? Because Thibodeau is a pretty he's kind of a
Well, he plays defense, so I think it would be a fit with Thibodeau.
yeah, and I mean, would he
The
get
guys
along?
that don't mesh well with Thibodeau are the guys that don't want to work hard on defense.
Well, yeah, oh, absolutely. If you don't play defense for him, you don't play. Listen, I think that franchise is going in the right direction, and they do have $71 million in cap space, so they can go out and try to patch some of
But
the
you
holes.
got a couple of first round picks coming this year as well.
Right, so they could make a trade too. I mean,
Or you could draft well.
Yeah, but I mean, they're probably going to get if the Mavericks, which I suspect they're going to lose this series. If the Mavericks go out, it's going to be the Knicks are going to have the 19th pick, and I think in the 22nd pick. So I mean, unless they can turn those two picks into and move up, I mean, I don't know how much they can really do. I mean, I think they could trade the picks. Yeah, they do have 2 second-round picks, and one of their second-round picks belongs to the Detroit Pistons. So that's something to watch because it could be almost if the Pistons happen to win the lottery, that could end up being the first pick in the second round.
Yeah, but even if the Pistons are the worst record, the lottery doesn't affect the second round.
Yeah, but it goes by record, right?
The second round is straight record.
Oh, do they have the worst record in the league? Pistons. I mean,
Houston was pretty bad too. I'd have to look it up, but they were neck and neck. Houston and
yeah, they were.
Detroit.
But the bottom line is
Don 19. They'll fill us in.
They probably would have with the 32nd or the 33rd or the 34th pick in the draft.
You can get a guy there if you do your homework and watch and.
Oh, and I don't doubt they won't. But they do have a lot of good young players.
Who picks your players?
Huh?
Who picks your players?
Oh, Leon Rose.
Okay.
The agent. He's their GM now. I think he did a pretty good job last year in the draft. I mean, listen, Quickly did a nice job. I think Tobin, considering what ended up happening, I think Tobin handled himself pretty well. I mean, who expected Randall to become the kind of player he is? They were expecting him to take over for Randall, and if they were going to trade Randall at the deadline. That was the plan in the beginning of the season. Nobody expected Randall to become a superstar, and that cut into Tobin's time. But Tobin has showed that he can play if he gets enough playing time, and quickly he looks like an explosive player. But that's another thing about the Knicks with comparing the Knicks to the Hawks. The Hawks bench is just 100 times better than the Knicks bench. I mean, the Hawks have guys coming off the bench who can light it up. I mean, the Knicks bench is very young and inexperienced, and that's the problem. You like to have the veterans coming off the bench who can score some points in a big spot, and that's not. I mean, Quickly is a rookie, and to expect a guy like that to come in off the bench in the playoffs and light it up, the kind of player he is, that's it's night to night with him. Sometimes he's going to be great, sometimes he's not going to be great. It all depends on the night. And it's kind of rough.
39-35, 9 minutes left in the first half. Still no Joel Embiid. That's a hard screen there by Robin Lopez.
Yeah, no Joel Embiid, and it doesn't look like Bradley. Is Bradley Beal in the game? Doesn't look like it.
Was that offensive? Looks like they called an offensive foul on Russell Westbrook because he thinks he's a football player. Yeah, you can't extend your arm like that. You can't extend your arm like that.
He knew it. He knew it. He's kind of shaking his head, but he knew it. Boy, he's always got a sourpuss face, that guy.
He's a crybaby.
Well, yeah.
Mike Parker, Matisse Thybulle has absolutely stepped up a few levels. I really like his game and how it's developing. Matisse Thybulle. That was a really good late round draft pick. You get two guys in the late first round in Maxey and Thybulle in the last two drafts that are legit building blocks, and that doesn't happen all the time in the NBA. So That's good drafting by Morey and good drafting by Elton Brand.
tell you what though, you're looking at how good that Bridges guy from Villanova was. Didn't the Sixers have him?
Yeah, they traded it. Well, that was the Zaire Smith disaster.
Because that could have been.
Yeah, he ate it. He ate a peanut. He ate a peanut.
I didn't like that trade to begin with because I first of all I was like, oh my god, I can't believe the Sixers got that guy, drafted that guy. I mean, and then they traded him, which I don't know. I mean, who knows if he would have been able to develop into the kind of player he is now? Because he probably wouldn't have gotten the playing time he's gotten in Phoenix. So that you could always make that. That you could always make that claim too. But I listen. There's always a few moves that you'd like to take back, but this is a very good team. I think at this point the Sixers are looking like it should be cruise control until the East Conference Finals, and then it's going to be then they're going to have a war, and whoever they play, it's going to be tough. I think they match up better against the Bucks. So I think that would be something to watch out for. I don't think they match up very well against Brooklyn. I think the Bucks actually might match up better against Brooklyn than Philly does. But I think Philly would beat the Bucks.
Keith, so the Sixers, let's not get ahead of her. The Sixers, assuming they win this series, which they should sweep tonight, should be over tonight. I don't care if Joel Embiid doesn't come back in for another second of this game. They should still beat the Wizards in this game.
They've played a lot of games without Joel Embiid, and they played very well without Joel Embiid. They'll score enough points to beat this team.
So the Sixers will play the winner of the Knicks and Hawks series, which certainly looks to be the Hawks. Hawks are up 3-1.
Yeah,
3-1 series.
I think the Hawks will be they'll be more competitive than the Wizards. They may even win a game or two, but in the end, the Sixers are just too big, too strong, too talented to lose to the Hawks. So that, as I said, it comes down to who would you rather play?
George Hill at the line right now.
I mean, I know you might want to, emotionally, you might want to play Brooklyn to prove something against Brooklyn, but matchup wise, I think you match up better against Milwaukee. And it seems like the Sixers have always played well against Milwaukee. They always seem to be able to, it seems
fare too well this season.
No.
How
many times
they lost by like 3 or 4? One you can throw out because absolutely nobody played. Joe Embiid didn't play.
I was just going to ask you how many times did they play with? How many times did Philly play with their whole with the whole team though? Are they playing? That's the thing about the regular season that we have to remember. We don't really remember. Did Philly play with all their top players or
I don't know.
I mean, that's the regular season. I mean, you can't necessarily go by that. You don't know if the Bucks may have had a tough game the night before. The Sixers had a tough game the night before, then had to play them on a back-to-back. Who knows? You have to throw all that stuff out because now it's mano a mano. Both teams get to prepare specifically for each other and don't have one day to prepare for the next team. So I mean, that's why a lot of times you have to throw out the regular season. I just think that they match up better against them. I mean, Giannis will get his points, but Embiid will score more, and I think that the rest of the Sixer team is better than the Bucks. The difference between the Bucks and the Nets is Embiid will still get his points, but so will KD. And then you have to worry about trying to keep Kyrie Irving and James Harden from killing the two, and that won't be easy. So again, you can make your own decision. Milwaukee's a better defensive team. Brooklyn's a better offensive team. Who do you think is a better matchup? And do you think
I think the Bucks are pretty good.
Oh, they are very good.
I think the Bucks are going to beat the Nets.
That could definitely happen.
And then, I don't know, because, like, I don't like what I see from Kyrie when he has to play off the ball. I don't think he's adjusted to that like he should have yet. But this is why they should have played more together in the regular season.
Well, I'm sure they would have liked to, but, somebody was always hurt.
Because, like, if you play Brooklyn, Ben's on the ball, Ben's on Harden. You can't take Harden completely out of the game. He's just way too good. But Ben'll do good work on him. I guess you could put Ben on.
You could put Ben on KD.
No, but I need Ben on the ball. I think.
Well, Harden's going to have the ball. Harden right now.
Yeah, so I need Ben on the ball.
He's the point guard, and he's actually not worried about scoring now. He's thrilled to have a zillion assists now. He's more proud of his assists than he is scoring now because of the kind of team he has. I mean, I know he had some good teams in Houston, but you can't compare what he has in Houston to what he has in Brooklyn now. I mean, he's got two super scorers on his team. I mean, all he really has to do is make sure he finds them in the right spot. And if he can't, he can always take it himself. But I mean, again, Milwaukee, I know the Nets did win one game at home against Milwaukee. I don't recall the other two games who won. I don't remember. I do remember seeing one game that was on national television. I think the first time all three of the guys were together, and I think the Nets won that game. I don't recall the other two games because I didn't see them. And again, it could have been you could have had a situation where Giannis wasn't playing, or you could have had a situation where the Nets didn't have all three players playing. Who knows? But that's going to be a very interesting series. And you know what? If it goes 7, that's a big advantage for the Sixers. No question.
Yeah, the Bucks are looking good. They're looking good. I thought the Heat were gonna.
They demolished the Heat.
I didn't see that being a sweep at all.
Not only that, but I mean, it's not just that. It's the fact that they destroyed them. I mean, all those games were blowouts. I mean, you didn't have one close game. I mean, at least the Wizards gave you a reasonable effort in the first game. Last two games have been blowouts.
That game was a bunch of nonsense because Joe picked up 3 fouls in the first half, 2 of which were really soft calls. They still had 29 points in the game, so that game wouldn't have been close.
I'm just saying, but at least it was a close game. I mean, Miami just got hammered, and you got to wonder about Jimmy Butler and what the deal is going to be with him. Although I kind of think with him, I think Jimmy is more about his money than anything else.
Jimmy has his money.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I'm saying. And in Miami,
I mean, he just signed.
I know, but I mean, for them to trade him, he probably has a no trade contract. So I mean, for him,
they're not going to trade him. Look, Jimmy wanted to be there. Jimmy took a pay cut to not be in Philadelphia because he hated Brett Brown so much to be in Miami. He turned down, like, the Sixers could have maxed him out more than Miami because
from what I'm hearing is that it's not him as much as I think he's kind of worn out his welcome with the other players. So I mean, he doesn't exactly play well in the sandbox with others.
No, he doesn't play well in the sandbox with others.
That's a problem.
He seemed to get along with the guys here, though.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he got along with the coach at all. Brett Brown being the coach I'm referring to.
Brett Brown was not a real good coach.
But he seemed to get along with Ben. They went to wine tastings together and did like.
I think Jimmy wanted to go to Florida because there's no tax, there's no personal income tax. So his contract, he can afford to take a little less money there because he's going to bring home the same amount anyway because there's no personal income tax. So I think his accountants probably figured out how much money he needed to get there to match what he would get in Philly, where he'd pay a lot more personal income tax. And that's probably how they were able to work it out. That's probably why it was able to be worked out. This is why the Heat are able to sign a lot of free agents, because they have that advantage.
So,
Of course, they've got Riley, who everybody wants to play with him, play for his teams. So they have a terrific young coach. Well, he's not young anymore, but they have a terrific coach. So we'll see what happens with them. But they were very disappointing. Very disappointing. I mean, especially when Oladipo was able to come back and they still got hammered.
yeah, that's right. That's right. They had. I forgot they had Oladipo for a second.
Yes, they did. Well, they had him the last game. You would have thought that would give them a spark and they would at least be competitive, and they still got run over. Very disappointing effort by the Heat. Now the Lakers and Phoenix. Boy, Phoenix, really, you got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, I think that they're going to win, especially if Anthony Davis can't play. Because I've been underwhelmed. Like, I thought the Lakers were loaded, and they were loaded on paper throughout the season. But they're outside of LeBron and AD. I feel like they're not getting much from these guys. I mean, would they score 90? I think they were in the 90s again yesterday.
101-91, wasn't it? Or 101-93?
I think they lost by 8. I know they lost by 8. Yeah, 100 to 90. I mean, 92. I mean.
Yeah, look, Phoenix. I mean, I picked Phoenix.
Right. You're not winning in the NBA scoring 90 points. This isn't 84.
You're not going to beat Phoenix scoring 90 points either. Phoenix is a scoring machine. I mean, they can put up a lot of points in a hurry. And
it's a big game for Phoenix. It's a big game. I think they play again tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2-2. If Phoenix wins and makes it 3-2, then
they're going back home. They're going back home. I mean, it's got to be the biggest game for the Suns since Barkley in '94.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
they're not good. They're not good these days. They haven't been good much these days, and
they haven't been good in a long time, Rob. It's not since Barkley against Jordan. So
I mean,
Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley and that group. That was a very good team, but they weren't able to, like everybody else, they couldn't beat Jordan. But we'll see.
It's a big game.
Yep, we'll see if they can.
I would like to see the Suns win.
Oh, I think
partly because
I think almost everybody in the NBA, other than Laker fans, would like to see the Suns win.
Except Ralphie. Ralphie wants the Lakers to win.
Well, he's a Laker fan. But as I said, everybody who's not a Laker fan is definitely going to be rooting for the Suns. And what a shot!
Tobias, man. I mean, he started hot, then he kind of went away. Now he's starting to play. He's starting to get it going again.
He just got hammered and still put that shot in. That was.
He's playing. He's playing. Not only is he playing good statistically wise, I mean, just his demeanor.
I didn't realize the guy had so much strength. I always thought he was kind of a noodle when he was in.
Yeah, he's aggressive and strong, and I think he had. Now that you mentioned that, he does look stronger in his upper body. So yeah, I guess he's hitting the weights.
He's definitely hit the weights, because I remember when he was with the Clippers, he was not. He was more lanky than muscular like that. I mean, when he was with the Clippers, if he got hit like that, there's no way.
I mean, good grief. I mean, how much better defense can you play on Bradley Beal? I mean, you got Ben in his pocket. You're doubling him with Tobias. And he still hits that crazy.
That was a hell of a shot,
through. Bradley Beal. Here, I'll ask you, Bradley Beal or Devin Booker?
Oh, Devin Booker.
I think I go Beal.
The only reason
I think Beal gives you more on defense. That's why.
Yeah, but the thing with Booker, Booker took that team Booker basically made that team a lot better last year, and now this year they're on a whole new level, and I understand why. Okay, we'll see how who plays.
Oh, my boy.
Yeah, your favorite point guard. Yeah,
such a stiff. Chris Paul, he's such a stiff.
Yes, Chris Paul, your buddy, your personal pal.
That's why I'm not all. If Chris Paul wasn't such a mutt, Chris Paul couldn't win a game at checkers if it was for money. That's how bad he is in the clutch. This guy's never won a thing.
If they can pull this off, if they can get to the finals, Chris Paul can change it all if they can get to the finals.
But that's why I'm not. That's why I'm on the Jazz to win the West and not Phoenix.
I know it's hard to be all in on that, but yeah, it doesn't look like you're going to see Embiid again.
That's a good point. That's a good point by Don. They had some good teams with Steve Nash when he was winning the MVPs with Amari Stoudemire and Sean Marion.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that era. Yeah,
I did as well.
Steve Nash was a tremendous.
I forget what year it was. The Suns were loaded, and then Amari Stoudemire was a knucklehead and got suspended for Game 6 in a closeout game. They had the Spurs dead to rights. They were better than the Spurs. You just say the MVP, Steve Nash, and Matrix, Sean Marion, and then Amari Stoudemire. I forget what exactly.
They should have won that series.
He got technical foul, kicked out of a game, and they suspended him for Game 6. So they obviously lost without Amari. This is when Amari was a monster. This was Phoenix Amari, not New York Nick Amari.
Who had one monster year, and then the rest of the year was basically.
And they lost Game 6, obviously, and then the Spurs just weren't going to lose Game 7 because it was the Spurs with Manu and Duncan and Parker all in their primes.
Yeah, that was a great Spurs team. But they did have them dead to rights. Just like Houston had Golden State dead to rights a few times, and Harden couldn't put them away.
Keith likes Booker over Beal too. Just fine. They're both terrific players.
If you're asking me who I would take either one of them in a heartbeat on my team. I mean, my two guards scored 0 points in 34 minutes of playoff basketball yesterday.
How's that even possible? That's impossible.
Again,
you couldn't get a foul shot. You couldn't draw a foul and get to the line.
No points in 34.
How many free throw attempts did he have?
I don't recall him even getting to the line. What I don't understand, and I'm not criticizing. I don't mean to criticize Thibodeau, but why was he out there so long if he wasn't scoring at all? I mean, I guess defensively he's pretty good, but I mean, it's just
who are you going to go with? I mean, Kevin Knox isn't good. Frank Nicolina is not good.
Quickly. But Quickly can't really defend, though. That's the problem. You can't really put him out there too long because he's not really a defender yet. That's not part of his game. Right now he comes off the bench and he's a gunner. So that's what I'm saying. The Knicks have
Reggie Bullock yesterday, Brad. He took 4 shots.
Yeah, in 34 minutes.
He's just starting 2 guards.
You want to know why the Knicks can't beat Atlanta? That's the reason, okay? Because you have a player like that, and in today's NBA, your guards are usually your best players. And if you're getting no points out of your 2, I mean, how are you supposed to win, especially on the road against a team that's probably a little better than you, and absolutely has more talent than you. I mean, you can look at all the miscellaneous stuff all you want.
That's your
look at the heart, but that's your hole. That's the hole the Knicks have to fill.
You need guards.
Even more than a center. They have a perfect point guard to come off the bench, but they need a really good starting point guard, and they need a 2 guard who can light it up. And if they can find that, with $70 million in cap space, that's what you've got to find. You've got to find 2 guys who can score. Yeah, and if you do that, then you got something. Then you can win. Then you can at least win the first round and be competitive in the second round.
Wizards are hanging around this thing. Bertans hits a 3, 56-54, 2 minutes left in the first half. Bertans 15 points, 3 of 4 from 3. Keep it right here on A2D Radio. After us, Flight Zone's come out. We'll be doing some post-game stuff. So we got you. We're Sixered up. We're going to have everything. I'm sure they'll be talking about the Jazz and the Grizzlies series, which goes
Surprise!
off
Flight
tonight.
Zone is not doing a show tonight. They'll be going on tomorrow.
Okay. Are we doing a post-game show? I thought so. I thought we saw doing a post-game show, right?
They are. I don't know what they are going to do for tomorrow, but
No, but someone's on
tomorrow.
Someone's
Maybe
on
they'll
after,
recap Game 4. So
somebody's on after us doing a post-game show, right?
not that I've heard of.
Okay. My apologies.
All
So
good.
listen to the Flight Zone tomorrow. 56-56, so it's tie game.
Wizards looking to take the lead now.
Chrome's
Wide open
concerned
three
about
for
injury.
West. Misses, and
Shocker.
Harris has the rebound.
There you
And
go,
he
right to the
makes
rack.
driving basket, and it's rejected. So Sixers seem to be not playing with as much emotion.
Slow it down. Slow down.
Now they're going to run, and boy, you talk about a nasty foul. I mean, I don't blame Hill for being pissed off about that. That was.
I'm not. No,
I
I
don't
don't
like
want to
it.
be.
I mean, I know it sounds a little soft to say that, but you know what? I don't like when you foul somebody like that.
I hate when he does that too. Like, who is he mean mugging after he dunks the ball like that?
I don't. Who knows? I mean, come on. That's an arm bar. You don't do that. I mean, what kind of crap do you call that? He just yelled that was an arm bar too. I mean, see, I don't like plays like that. This guy needs to have a good game tonight, because if Embiid isn't going to play, they're going to need to get some extra scoring from somebody else, and he certainly is the kind of guy that can do that.
I love George. I really like George Hill. I think he was a perfect deadline addition for this team, because the Sixers, they have statistically the best starting five in the whole NBA. There's no need to break that up to bring in some big name. So you get an extra ball handler. And
you get an extra shooter off the bench.
Plays well.
Yeah, if somebody's off their game or somebody gets hurt, then I mean, we'll see. You might see Embiid start the second half.
Chrome, he's worried about Embiid. I mean, I'm not concerned yet. Maybe if he doesn't start the second half, I'll get a little concerned. But Joel Embiid doesn't have anything to do with this perimeter defense that's getting played right now, which has gone to complete shit, which needs to get corrected right now. Ben Simmons is not on the floor, and the Wizards are rejecting everything. Timeout.
Well,
timeout. I would have called the tie. Even though there's only 42 seconds left, I would have called the tie.
Yeah, but how is that not a travel? The guy got the ball and took 3 steps.
They travel all the time, Brad.
Okay. I mean, I understand. I understand.
We need halftime. That's going in.
He basically took the ball from. He got the ball at the elbow, and
I need a set. I need a good play here.
Walked all the way to the basket.
Set a screen. I mean, it went in. But I don't like. I mean,
what a shot!
And you're fighting it, but I didn't
shit.
like that. I didn't like that set at all.
Yeah, but
it's not good basketball. I don't know if that was Danny Green or Tobias.
That was that was Green.
But,
That was
I mean, they gotta wake up a little bit on the defensive end of the floor. They started with great defensive intensity and not so much to close the half. The Sixers are winning the basketball game 61-60. It's halftime. Hopefully Joe can come back and play in the second half so we can ice this away, get our sweep.
You got to think if he plays in the second half, it's over. If he doesn't play, it's going to be a competitive game. The Wizards. Listen, this is basically their season. They don't want to get eliminated at home. No team wants to ever get eliminated at home. These guys have a lot of pride. They're going to give you their best shot tonight. So I mean, if Simmons is going to play well with Embiid not in the game, they'll probably win. But it's not going to be that easy without Embiid.
I need this rotation.
Player in the game right now.
I need this rotation tightened up too. Like
Well,
I don't need to
now that
see.
now that he's played so many guys, all these guys are ready to play. Pick 6, 7 guys and just go with them. The rest
Like
of
Shake
it.
Milton, like I don't need to see Shake. I don't need to see Tyrese Maxey. Like Mike Scott got 3 minutes. Like I mean, Maxey for 9 minutes and then Korkmaz plays 21 seconds. I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. But whatever. I need to tighten it up. You got the starting 5. You got Dwight. Obviously, Joe being out changes things a little bit, but the rotation should be, the starting 5: Thibault, George Hill, Dwight Howard. Right? Did I miss anyone? That's 8. Like Shake, I mean.
By the way, Rob, just to let you know, there is a game 7 tonight in the NHL for those of you who are hockey fans. And my favorite team, as you know, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who I never picked to win anything, are playing the Canadiens, who, as you recall, at the beginning of the season, I claimed as one of my dark horse teams that could be a real pain in the ass this year. They are leading in Toronto in Game 7, 1-0, and to the surprise of probably anybody who's a hockey fan who really knows this game, knows that in a Game 7, Carey Price against Jack Campbell, I mean, in goal, that's going to be very, very tough.
Halftime of the 6th game, we can dive into some hockey, but yeah, Game 7 playoff hockey.
Yeah, right now it's 1-0 Canadiens, and all the pressure in the world right now is on the Leafs, and now the Leafs have a 2-on-1, and of course Price came out and stopped it. I mean, that's it was with Matthews too. Yeah, I tell you what, if the Canadiens get another goal, this Leaf team is going to be done. They've always been a very fragile team. And Rob, if you're the GM of the Leafs, okay, and again we'll get back to the Sixers when they start playing, and it's after. If you're the Leafs general manager and the Leafs lose this series, I mean, what do you do with this team? I mean, you're loaded with.
Aren't you kind of stuck? Are you kind of stuck with these guys?
Yeah, I mean they're all signed to long-term.
Tobias, Matthews, like all these guys, you're stuck with these guys, right?
Yeah, well, you're not stuck with them. I mean, they're great players, but what do you do here with some of these guys? I mean,
yeah, but you have they're huge contracts.
Yeah, I mean,
look at Draymond Green, smacked ass with that suit.
Yeah, and in this game that Frederick Anderson is playing, and I don't think Frederick Anderson has played the whole series, and Campbell was terrible, so they took him out. Now Anderson is playing, and Anderson hasn't. I can't remember the last time Anderson ever won a big game. But if you think about the Leafs losing last year in the first round to Columbus, and then losing the year before that to somebody in the first round, whom I can't recall at this point. But then and now if they lose to the Canadiens, boy oh boy, I mean they're gonna be awfully upset in Toronto if that happens.
Well, let's go to the other side of Canada, the west side of Canada, to Edmonton. What do you do if you're the GM of that team? I mean, McDavid comes up small again.
As always.
Leon Draisaitl. I mean, you have two of the top 5 players in the league.
Draisaitl's great, but I mean, yeah, I mean that's another issue. You got to start wondering if you're Toronto and are you going to re-sign Ryan Nugent-Hopkins? I mean, he's the center of that line. Are you going to re-sign him, or are you going to try to get somebody better? And what are you going to do about the goaltending? Because their goaltending kills them every season.
They score enough goals.
Yeah, but their goaltending isn't good enough.
I know. They give up too many. Bobby Stevens, the Leafs have been asking this question for 17 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Like, when's the last time? Because even when they played the Flyers in the 2000s, they had a couple series with the Flyers in the playoffs. And they couldn't beat the Flyers either. They're always coming up small.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unbelievable because the Leafs, I mean, they just can't win a playoff series. And I mean, this series is this series was 3-1. Okay, 3-1 for Toronto. And I'll tell you what, if they blow it, a 3-1 series against Montreal of all teams, and if you understand the Montreal-Toronto dynamic, these are original 6 teams. They've always hated each other. These two fan bases. I mean, boy, oh boy, to have to live with the Canadian fans this summer if the Canadians if the Canadians knock off Toronto. I mean, that would be like me having to live with you guys if the Rangers had a 3-1 lead on the Flyers and the Flyers ever came back on them.
Right.
Those lines. Oh yeah.
Jay, the game is on TNT. Sixers at halftime. Sixers up 1. We're talking some hockey during halftime. We'll get some baseball, then we'll get back to some Sixers talk. We'll take you to about 9:15 here on the Sports Hounds. Check out Flight Zone tomorrow. Brad, I'm really impressed with the Bruins. They laid into Washington, took them right out of there. They dismantled the Islanders, who I think are a pretty good hockey team there for the Islanders. They're well coached. They got some good players.
Well, that was game 1.
They went right through them.
They are playing. Yeah, they've looked outstanding so far. Game 2 is tonight. I don't know what the score is for that game, but
here, I got it right here.
I
Boston's up 1-0 end of the first.
Yeah, so I mean, Boston is Boston's holding serve at home. Boston's going to be very, very tough to beat. I mean, that trade that they made with Buffalo.
You give them Hall, and it's just like,
and Hall hasn't done crap for anybody in the last 2-3 years. But you know what? Now all of a sudden you put him on a good team like Boston, makes all the difference in the world. And
you have Marchand there, who's a tremendous leader.
He's on the first line. He's on the perfection line with Patrice Bergeron and Pasternak on the first line, and then you've got Krejci on the second line with Hall and Hall. Now that Hall is on the second line, he's really stabilized that team. The team was having trouble scoring goals before Hall came. Now that they've got 2 solid offensive lines, they're they're tough to deal with because their third and fourth lines just beat you up and punish you. And they are what the NHL in 2021. That's how the teams are supposed to be built. You're supposed to be built with strong goaltending, real good defense, 2 scoring lines, and 2 mean lines, 2 checking lines that'll wear you down. And that's kind of how they play. And when they got that for a while, when they were not playing well during the season, they weren't scoring enough, and they weren't scoring enough because their second line wasn't doing anything. It was all the perfection line. But now that they've got Hall, it's made all the difference for them. But I'm just shocked at how Toronto. Not really. I shouldn't be shocked because I picked Winnipeg to win that region, and I did pick Montreal to beat Toronto. So I mean, I shouldn't really be shocked when I picked them, but I picked them just more of because I can't pick Toronto to win anything. They're just you can't rely on them to win a series. It's unbelievable.
Did you catch the dismantling last night? The Avalanche dismantled the Vegas Golden Knights, and they started fighting at the end. Should get chippy. Should get. Colorado's on another level. They're so much fun to watch play. You have McKinnon and McCarr.
Colorado's good. Colorado's good. I think is going to beat the Golden Knights.
They're so tactical. They're so tactical with their passing and their puck movement. And
Rob, you watch the way they play, okay? And then you watch. I mean, I happened to watch Tampa Bay the other night, okay? You watch the way Tampa Bay plays, and you watch the way Colorado plays, and then we watch how the Rangers and Flyers play, okay? And there's a significant difference in these games. I mean, it's so apparent. It's almost It's almost ridiculous the way these teams move the puck around so quickly, and how strong they are defensively, and how quickly they turn defense into offense, and how their defensemen are such great puck movers. I mean, you watch them, and you realize that this is what the top hockey teams look like. So we both have a ways to go to catch up with these teams.
I mean, the Flyers. I don't even know what you do with the Flyers.
I mean, the Flyers have to
look at their whole roster, and it's just the whole roster is just out. And we do have breaking news from Sixers Twitter. Joel Embiid has right knee soreness. He will not return to the basketball game.
Right knee soreness from falling from that fall.
Who knows?
I think they probably and you know what, they do lie sometimes too. It could be something else.
Hopefully that they can get the. I still think they should still win this basketball game. Like, gotta get this one. You gotta get this done. You got to get this done somehow tonight. Then you're off, you rest. I feel like the Flyers are 3 years away. The one thing about the NHL, you don't really win until your core players are in their late 20s. Half our teams are still babies.
That's not necessarily true.
I don't really agree with that.
That's not true, because if you're in your late 20s, you're in hockey. Usually, you're done. So I would disagree with that, but okay. I mean, if that's what they want to say, that's fine. I would disagree with that, because usually hockey players hit their peaks around between 24 and 27, and they start going downhill after that. So
I just don't know what to say. And Keith, I mean, it's not that the Sixers are playing bad. They just lost focus on the defensive end of the floor in the second half there. Or the second part of the second quarter. They're just letting the Wizards go right up and down the floor, and they're not stopping the ball, and they're blowing assignments, and you can't do that in the playoffs. That's how you let the Wizards back in the game, and you're only up 1.5. That's what happens. But back to the Flyers real quickly. Carter Hart, I was expecting a jump from him. Didn't happen. He regressed. Ivan Provorov, I expected him to make a big jump. Didn't. Travis Konechny, I was expecting him to make a big jump. Didn't. These young guys like Moran and Phil Myers, and
I think the biggest problem this year was Hart. I mean, Hart didn't play well. Hart played on a very, very high level last season. This season, he was nowhere near that, and I guess they have to find out about Hart, what the deal is. So, I mean, you're not going to give up on him when he's 21 years old.
No, I'm not giving up on him.
You're not going to give up on him, but the league may have figured him out a little bit. Now he's got to make some adjustments to his game and get better, and I think he will. I mean, the problem to me with the Sixers, the big problem with them was they were so inconsistent. It was ridiculous. I mean, that was really the problem with them.
I'm more concerned. My concern is more with the forwards.
Yeah. I mean,
the Travis Konechny's. I mean, Couturier is really good. G and Voracek are old, but then there's nothing. I mean, Konechny, he didn't do anything. Nolan Patrick is a total stiff. He's the second pick in the draft. He's a complete whiff. I mean, every time he steps on the ice, the other team scores.
By the way, an update on the Montreal-Toronto game. It is now Montreal 2, Toronto 0.
They're gonna fold like a cheap tent.
I mean,
Maple Leafs, they're done. Boy. They're done.
I mean, do we have that?
Unbelievable.
Do we have that one figured out or what?
You certainly did. I mean, they're up 3-1. I mean, geez, oh man. I mean, that's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the kind of players that they have, and you're not winning, I mean, that kind of makes you wonder if maybe one of these wings is going to get traded.
Who's their coach?
Who is their coach now? I can't even remember.
Has it been the same guy?
No, they've changed. They've
already played that game.
Yeah, they changed coaches like they changed their underwear. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, you take a look at the talent on that team. I mean, Austin Matthews Austin Matthews, I think, scored 43 goals in 70 games. No, how many games did they play this year? 56? Yeah, they played 56 games, and he scored 43 goals. And he had over 100 points. I mean, and, again, he comes up real small. And again, it's all about the goaltending. Carey Price is going to out-goaltend Frederik Andersen every time. And, they're showing they showed the goal before, and that was a ridiculously soft goal that now Campbell is in there. So, I mean, Anderson gave up a softie. Now they put Campbell back in. I mean, I don't get it, because you take a look at the players on that team, and they are loaded everywhere. Even defensively.
Cameron, Ireland, Kyle, Dubai, Dubis.
Tobias, yeah, Tobias, yeah, and
Not sure if there's a French Canadian spin on that at all.
And
they fired back. Yeah, they used to have Babcock.
They fire everybody. Montreal almost scored again. That was a great save by Campbell.
Sixers are back. Second half.
We will.
This is a problem. This is a problem. You just go small. They put Mike Scott in to start the second half, and I get why they're doing it, because Mike Scott's playing the 5. That's an offensive foul on Bradley Beal. He just shoved Ben Simmons on the ground. There you go. A lot of contact there, it looked like. Come on, you can't give Beal a look like that. It just can't happen. Like, you got to close out, and you got to be sharper on your closeouts. That's good ball movement. That's a good lock, but Mike Scott's a stiff, so he's not going to hit the shot. But, yeah, I don't like this lineup on the floor at all. And I get you have to get a little creative because Joe's not coming back tonight. But, I mean, I can get a little more creative than having Mike Scott start in the second half in a playoff game. I mean, I'm sorry, but come on, Doc. They're playing really sloppy basketball right now. Since about 4 minutes left in the first half to the first 2 minutes of this,
well, it just seemed like
they're playing really sloppy.
Just seems like the air kind of came out of the balloon a little bit with when Embiid got hurt.
Huchimara hits a 3.
And
Wizards up 5. Joel Embiid.
I would think that if this was Game 7, I would think that Embiid would probably play. But at this point, as I said,
it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad's not the right word, but I'm gonna be disappointed in this basketball team if they can't complete this sweep, even without Joel Embiid. You got to step on their throat. You got to crush their throat when you have them down like this.
Yeah, but they're not the same team without Embiid.
I understand that.
They're not a super.
The Wizards aren't good. Team. The Wizards stink.
I understand that, but they do. But they do have two very, very good players on their team.
I understand, but
I mean,
Joel Embiid being out shouldn't affect your defense on those two guys.
I agree.
You should still have a defensive game plan for those two guys, and it can still be executed without Joel Embiid on the floor. I
got you. I just want to let you know that the second period is now over, and the Canadiens have a 2-0 lead over the Leafs.
So there's 20 minutes left. So it's gut
20
check.
minutes. The Leafs have to score 3 goals. They have to score at least 2 goals in 20 minutes, or it's over. And that just is mind-boggling to me.
Is Canada allowed to have fans yet?
I don't think that they have any fans in the stands. I don't think so.
I mean, that might be a good thing because they would probably be
if
quite upset right now.
Fans, if there were fans in the building, they would be. Toronto fans are notorious for. Toronto fans are no different than Ranger and Flyer fans, Rob. Our fans are pretty tough on our teams when we start playing like crap, and I would think that they'd be getting booed off the ice right now. But as you know, and I've told you a million times, home ice advantage isn't just the fans. You have an advantage on faceoffs, and you get the last change too. So you can have the advantage on matchups as well. So I mean, there's really no excuse. Yeah, Dubas is the coach. Thank you, Cameron. Appreciate that. Yeah, Babcock already got fired 2 years ago, so now you've got this out there. And if Toronto loses, you got to figure almost everybody on that team, other than Austin Matthews, is going to be available. You would think, because at this point, it doesn't matter how good you are during the season. You can win 1,000 divisions in a row. In the NHL, nobody gives a crap how many divisions you win. It's all about the playoffs. Okay, you at least have to get to the conference finals in the NHL to really get respect. Okay, and that team playing in that division with the inferior teams that are in that division, that's just ridiculous.
There's Joe limping
There's
around
Joe
on the
limping
replay.
around a little bit.
So we're gonna have some heavyweights in this NHL Final Four.
Oh yeah. Oh, and listen, if you have a Boston Tampa Bay Final Four and a Colorado Winnipeg, well, Colorado Winnipeg will be. Well, then again,
it might not work. It might not shake like that though.
It's not. It's seeded. It's not East versus
based on regular season points.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So I'm trying to remember with the points. Probably.
I think I had it right here.
I think Colorado would probably have the most points. I think. I'm trying to think. I mean,
you're pretty confident. You're pretty confident that those four teams are going to advance.
Well, those are the four teams I like, and obviously, it doesn't hurt that they all won their first game. I mean, obviously, Winnipeg hasn't even played. It hasn't played yet because they have to play whoever wins this game against Montreal. But Winnipeg defensively is. Winnipeg doesn't have the greatest offense in the world, just like Montreal doesn't have the greatest offense in the world. But Winnipeg has a very, very, very good goaltender, Connor Hellebuck. He is very good, and he may not be as good as Price, but he's not a bad goaltender. I mean, the Leafs to me do not have good goaltending, and I mean, boy, oh boy, if they lose to the Canadiens. It's bad enough. It's bad enough if they lose. Period. I mean, losing to Columbus is one thing, okay? Because nobody in the NHL cares about Columbus. But losing to the Canadiens, if you're in Toronto, that would be like if you guys blew a 3-1 lead to the Penguins, okay? Or if the Rangers blew a 3-1 lead to the Islanders, or the Devils, oh boy. I mean, you can't even. I'm just thinking about it. Oh my God! Because if my father were still alive, he'd be dying laughing because he couldn't stand Montreal. He liked Toronto, so that was a the French versus the British thing with him. So, but that stuff seriously exists in Canada, my friends. In case you don't know, with Montreal is a lot of French Canadian people. And Toronto is all the British people, so they got a little extra zap to it.
I'm just looking at so Colorado at 82 points. That's the most.
So Colorado would be playing Boston then, probably.
Boston had 73.
Yeah, I think.
Winnipeg. Winnipeg only had 63.
All right, so Colorado. Oh God, if Colorado plays Winnipeg, that'll be quick. So Colorado, Winnipeg will be quick with
and
Boston.
Tampa only had 75, so it would be Colorado, Tampa, Boston, Winnipeg.
Oh, so it'll be Colorado. Bertans is going off. Rob is limping off the court now.
They're dropping like flies in this game, 68, 67. So yeah, it would work out. It would be an East-West final if those four teams.
So it would be Boston. It would be Boston and Winnipeg.
No. It would be Boston. Colorado's the 1 seed. They have
Okay.
82. They had 82.
And they would play.
Winnipeg would have 63. They would be the 4 seed.
Oh, they'll kill.
So it would break down East. It might not. Stuff happens in sports, but
Right, but most likely it's going to be Colorado and Winnipeg against, because I still think Winnipeg is going to beat whoever wins the series between Montreal and Toronto. And I'm not quite counting Toronto out yet, but they have never in the past shown any inclination.
it's the same thing every year.
And it's been going on. It's been going on since. I mean, I remember one year, Toronto was playing the Bruins in the playoffs, and Toronto had a 3-1 series lead in that series. And the Bruins came back, tied at 3-3, and then in the third period, Toronto was ahead of Boston 4-1 with only 10 minutes to go in the game. Boston scores to make it 4-2. Then Toronto scores to make it 5-2. And guess what? In the last 5 minutes of the game, Boston scored 4 goals and won 6-5, and they didn't even get it to overtime.
I mean, can we get Mike Scott out of the basketball game, please? Get him out of the game. Terrible. I mean, this guy, he's a total stiff. He's getting schooled by a rookie, second-year player, Daniel Gafford. He doesn't hit shot. He didn't do anything. Put Thibault in the basketball game and D up on the perimeter. You got no one that's going to hurt you inside for this Wizards team.
Well, Green just hit a 3, so that gets you back to within 1.
73-72. The Cameron Ireland, Seattle's going to build a super team in the expansion draft. When is that, Brad?
No. You think they think they're going to do what the Golden Knights did? No. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Why did that happen with the Golden Knights?
The Golden Knights picked a lot of old veteran players. First of all, they're not going to get a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury to be their goaltender. That's number one, and that is number 1, number 2, and number 3. I mean, you got a guy who won 2 Stanley Cups as your goaltender.
How is a guy like Marc-Andre Fleury in the expansion draft? What? Because
what happened was Matt Murray won that when Marc-Andre Fleury got hurt. Matt Murray came in, took over, and had a Nick Foles-esque type of playoff run, and the Penguins won the Stanley Cup with him in goal. So they made a decision that they weren't going to keep Marc-Andre Fleury and that Matt Murray was going to take over. The only problem was Matt Murray only had 1 good year after that and completely fell apart. And Marc-Andre Fleury has gone on to some really good things in Vegas. Got them to the finals in their first year and has had them highly competitive. I mean, listen, Vegas is also drafted real well. They have a GM in George McPhee, who he was the one who built the Washington Capitals. I know that they only won 1 Stanley Cup, but basically, he's
they're a loaded team.
Player. Yeah, he's the one that drafted all those players. They got lucky with Marchessault. He was in the Rangers system, and the Rangers never really gave him a shot. And then he comes up and ends up being a great player. And they went and took a lot of players who were getting paid a lot of money, and their teams didn't really want them. So they got some goal scorers.
That's not backcourt.
Their coach that's not a backcourt. No, their coach was the guy that just interviewed with the Rangers, and Gerard Gallant, and he's a very good coach. So, and he was able to
come on,
play great defense, and they got in, and the way they played this real tight defensive game, and they had enough guys to score. They made some nice trades, but the bottom line is they were able to pick up clean a lot of real good players because of the fact that there was a lot of teams in salary cap hell. and they let a lot of teams let some of their top players go. I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think you're going to see any top players ending up on Seattle. For example, I'm trying to remember a couple of players who they got. I can't remember. It was too long ago. But they also made some good trades. They also went and they got themselves a legitimate tough guy. And you could say anything you want about tough hockey players who are fight first kind of players. But getting a guy like Ryan Reeves, okay, not only do you have a guy who can play the game, okay, but you also have a guy who commands respect from the other team, a guy that Tom Wilson has gotten his brains beat in by on several occasions, and a guy who protects their stars. So Vegas really, I mean, yeah, they've had some injuries, but you know what? When these guys play, they know that they got a guy like Ryan Reeves back there who, if somebody takes liberties with them, is going to have to deal with Ryan Reeves. And Ryan Reeves is like Muhammad Ali on skates. The guy, I don't think that guy's lost a fight, and God knows how. The only guy I can even remember in the last 10 years who's given him a good fight was Lowry on Winnipeg. But other than that, I mean, yeah, but that's how they got good. They went, they got a very fast team, and that was it. Now they're slowing down a little, and they can't play with Colorado. Not in a 7-game series. Not if McKinnon is completely healthy. There's no way. In the regular season, it's one thing. Playoffs, it's different.
Sixers down 4, 77-73. About 4 minutes left here in the third quarter.
And it looks like Harris just got fouled.
And Ruhu Chimara, he got teed up for taunting after dunking the basketball. Kind of a weak tech, but we'll take it.
But you know what? Don't act like an idiot when you dunk the ball.
He screamed in his face. I totally get it.
Did he?
Yeah, kind of.
What the hell is wrong with it?
I mean, I don't know.
You're down 3-0. What are you doing?
Okay, something's got to get called there, right?
You would think.
Is that a charge? I can't. It's tough to do basketball with no sound. Tough. So many whistles.
It's a foul on. It's a foul on the Wizards.
Like the possession before, Dwight's setting lazy ass screens, and then he's not finishing strong at the rim. He's getting blocked by Daniel Gafford, which I think a player the caliber of Dwight Howard should be able to finish, at least draw a foul on a rookie like Gafford. And I give Gafford looks like a pretty good player. That's a pretty good find by the Wizards.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I got to tell you, though. I mean, a player like Dwight Howard to come off the bench to play center.
He's been terrific. Dwight Howard's been
That's a.
He signed for 1 year. He signed for 1 year, $2.5 million. He's paying him nothing.
That's a pretty nice player to come off your bench to play center. I mean, he's no slouch. He can still defend and get rebounds. And he'll give you some points.
Roll to the hoop. There you go.
I'll tell you what, though, their offense is completely.
They're not doing anything. Their half court sets are trash right now. They're not. Slow the basketball game down. I don't know why Ben's not in the game. Ben should not come out of the basketball game if Joel Embiid's hurt.
Yeah, but you have to give him a rest at some point.
Yeah, you can rest after. There's Maxey again. That's not a good look. It's not a good look for Seth. That's not his shot.
Is there a reason, Rob? What the heck is this? Somebody trying to run onto the floor?
Someone just trying to run on the court.
Okay,
knucklehead.
So Rob, now we have completely covered the Atlantic seaboard.
Yeah, the north. Yeah.
Yeah, we've now.
What are you trying to run on the court for?
I mean, let's see. So we've now gone from Washington to Philly to New York to Boston.
Why would you try and run on the court?
I don't know. Why would you go on the court? NBA players are usually about 6'6", 250.
Yeah, you're lucky the security guard got you before.
Yeah, I was going to say, what exactly is it you want to do with these guys? I mean, these guys will kill you. These guys are monsters.
I mean, like,
if you ran on the court, Joel Embiid happened to be there, what would you do? He'd kill you. Jeez, these guys are. And good for security to get rid of that stupid ass immediately. I mean, he's getting sick of it.
Yeah, they got him right away. I mean, the security guard, he looked like he was a big fella too, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, that, doing that is almost as stupid as running on the field of an NFL game.
There you go. Good take. Good take. Tobias Harris, he's playing excellent basketball.
He is, and he's a lot. You know what? He's a lot more physical now with the Sixers.
I suppose that's a timeout by Washington. I guess Washington takes timeout. We're going to commercial. Brett, let's talk a little baseball.
Do we have to? I mean,
yeah.
For us, we're going from depression to just.
The Phillies are a mess, and Didi Gregorius is not coming back anytime soon. They already announced that. Something's fishy's going on with Bryce Harper. I don't know if he's in the doghouse with Joe Girardi. I don't know if
there is no way. Okay, let me tell you something. There is no way Joe Girardi is going to force him to go in the DL. If anybody thinks Joe Girardi is not doing that. Okay, Joe Girardi.
I'm just confused because Joe Girardi said he sat out in the game and it wasn't injury related. Then he's on the DL the next day, or the IL, excuse me.
He
and
lied.
Like it's identified as
he lied, and he admitted
he lied.
But his reasoning was the same reasoning that Aaron Boone had the other day when Chapman was sick, and they brought in Chad Green to try to make a save. Is that he didn't want to let the other team know what was going on and give them an unfair advantage. So,
and that's fine. I'm not going to get on Joe Girardi for gamesmanship, but the fact that I have no update on Bryce Harper over an arm contusion worries me.
Was that when he got hit?
I forget what he did.
Because he got beamed too, didn't he?
I don't think he got beamed. I think he got hit by a pitch.
Yeah, he got beamed. That's what I mean. Somebody beamed him.
I think when I hear beamed, I like malicious.
He got hit by a pitch.
Okay.
Okay, so
I just go beamed means like you hit him in the ribs because you're policing yourself or you got beef or something like that. So I don't know what's going on, and the Phillies defense is horrendous. They got smoked by Tampa Bay. They got smoked by Cincinnati. Vince Velasquez got shredded today. It's not good in Philly land. And your Yankees, I mean, they're getting swept by the Tigers. And that's not a good look at all.
How about scoring 5 runs in a series against the Tigers? Against the Tiger pitching staff. I don't even know how you can score 5 runs in 3 games against the Tigers. I mean, you should be able to score at least 15 runs in a series against that team by accident. I mean, they have the worst bullpen in baseball. Their starting pitching isn't very good either. I mean,
Casey Mize is good.
He's okay. Spencer Turnbull's okay. I mean, their pitching staff is okay. But come on, these are the Yankees. You have Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Gleyber Torres, and I could go on and on about their lineup. But you know what? Nobody's hitting right now. Stanton is back to striking out every time he's up. Judge is the only one. Judge is crushing the ball, but Judge is doing it all by himself. They're getting nothing.
This is the thing with these lineups that are boom or bust, home run, strikeout guy. You got to get them all hot at once. If they're not all hot at once, you're just going to hit a bunch of solo home runs. And a solo home run, I mean, it looks good on the stat sheet.
The Yankees are not hitting home runs right now. The only home run they hit all weekend against the Tigers, the only guy that hit a home run was Rougned Odor. I mean, that can't happen.
Now I'm way hurt again.
The only run they scored today was a home run by Miguel Andujar. I think they had 5.
What happened to him? I had so much promise for him. But he was a really good hitter.
He's been hurt the last 2 years, but I mean, and he's he's starting to come around and hit a little bit. But I mean, again, you're talking about a team-wide malaise, and as much as I complain about Aaron Boone, and you know how much I dislike him with a passion because I think he's a god-awful manager who, by the way, he cost the Yankees in game on Friday night. He cost them the game with his stupidity again. For some reason, I don't know, maybe it's me, but when you're playing on the road, okay, in the ninth inning, is it a new baseball analytic that you put in your top reliever in the ninth inning of a tie game, or do you save him for this, or you save him from when you get the lead?
When did he pitch last?
4 days ago.
That's why he went in the game.
In the ninth inning instead of the 10th?
Mm-hmm.
But then they get the lead, and they take him out and put in Justin Wilson because
that's puzzling.
Because you can't let him pitch 2 innings.
If he hasn't pitched in 4 days,
you
bring him in the tie game, and then
he hadn't pitched.
Maybe you have a guy warm up in case he gets into trouble.
Yeah, he hadn't pitched since Monday. Okay, so he brings him in. He brings him in in the ninth inning of a tie game, and I'm saying to myself, why is he in there? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? And then they bring in Justin Wilson, who's been an absolute horror show. He hasn't been his ERA is like almost 7, and they bring him in. I mean, what? And of course, he gives up the game-winning home run to Robbie Grossman of all people, who
he's having a good season. That's my trade target for the Phillies, Robbie Grossman.
Yeah,
bring him to town, baby.
He could end up being a trade target for a lot of teams, but I mean, you look at it, you're like,
he's a good player. He's having a good season.
He gets on base a lot. That's the one thing he does do. But you look at that and you're like, why wouldn't you just let him pitch 2 innings? Why wouldn't you make sure that especially when the Yankees went and got and took the lead in the top of the 10th inning? Why on earth would you take him out when you have the lead? I can understand if the game was tied. Okay, then don't pitch him 2 innings. But once you get the lead, he only threw 13 pitches.
Right.
Why can't you let him pitch another inning? And
Boston.
This is the kind of stupid crap Aaron Boone does, and it just seems like from there they lose 6 to 1. Yesterday they lost 7-2 or 8-2 or something like that. I mean, 6-2. And in the 8th inning, it's 6-0. The Yankees get a couple of runs. Okay, they get 1 run, and then Gary Sanchez gets a clutch hit in the 8th inning with 2 outs. He gets a base hit with runners on first and third. So 6-2. The guy throws the ball to first base, and they threw it away. So Gary Sanchez decides, down 4 runs, let's go to second base. But hold on. In the middle of going to second base, he stops to take a look where the ball is. He completely comes to a dead stop, turns around to see where the ball is, okay? The guy picks it up and throws him out. And he's out by like 2 or 3 steps, and you're like, and even Michael Kay just said, what the heck did he just do? And then they got off the air pretty quick, so I would imagine they were just, the Yankee announcers were beside themselves, like, what the heck was that? So, I mean, I can only imagine what Boone must have been thinking and what Cashman must have been thinking. I mean, why would you do? Why do you stop in the middle of the bases like that to pick up the ball? Aren't you supposed to look at your third base coach? I mean,
yeah, you pick up the coach. You round second. And you pick up
But you got to run to second. I mean, he stops in the middle. Like, what was he going to do? Run back to first base? Oh, you've already made the decision. He's probably 2/3 of the way there. Why is he stopping? I mean, other than the crazy play by the Pirates against the Cubs, where the guy ran back to home plate. I mean, did you see that one?
No, I missed that.
Okay, one of the guys on the Cubs hits a ground ball to third base. Okay, There's also a runner on third base with 2 outs. Throws the ball, and he throws the ball wide of first base. The first baseman catches the ball, and the base runner stops running and starts running back to home plate again because he doesn't want to be tagged out. So the knucklehead first baseman on Pittsburgh chases him home. Okay, and then the guy from third comes home to try to score, and he scores. He's safe. So the guy who originally hit the ball says, "Okay." So then he goes and runs back to first base again. Nobody's covering first base. The first baseman who had the ball goes and ends up throwing the ball into right field, and the run scored, and then the guy went to second base. Now, I've seen some stupid plays in my life, and for those of you out there who didn't see it, go on YouTube and check out this play with the Cubs and the Pirates. Yes, few games ago, where the guy runs the wrong way, where the guy decides. I mean, I've never seen anything so stupid. This Sanchez play was as dumb as that play. I don't understand when you're running on an overthrow. If you're running to second base, why you're stopping to look where the ball was. What was he thinking? He's going to go to third base. There's 2 outs, Gary. There's 2 outs. You're not going to third base. You're a catcher. Just go to second and be happy you're in scoring position. You would have had second and third with 2 outs. The pitcher is obviously rattled. He hasn't pitched to 3 guys yet. He's going to have to pitch. It was Fulmer. He's going to have to pitch to 1 more batter. Okay, and then he gets thrown out at second base, down 4 runs. And this is the kind of crap that we're watching right now. So if you think you guys have been watching some crap, we've been watching some crap too. And basically, at this point, if the Yankees don't turn things around, the season's going to be over by the end of this week because they have 3 more with Tampa and then 3 with Boston. So if they're like 8-9 games out in this division, they're not going to cut. They're not making the playoffs. Because you got Toronto too, and then you've also got Houston playing real well too. So it's now or never for them.
Sixers down 12, end of 3. We're going to get out of here. Hope everyone had a safe, happy Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy what's left of it. Brad, I know you squeezed a few extra days off beginning of the week here. Sixers down 12. Hopefully we can get it together and get this sweep. I'd be disappointed to have to watch a game 5, but I guess it is what it is without Joe. And
so you'll win at home. You'll win at home with him playing. He'll have a couple of. When's the next game? Wednesday.
You know what? I didn't even look it up because I thought they were going to win tonight, so I don't even care.
Listen, worst comes to worst, you'll win. You'll win it. It's not like you're going to lose the series, and there's no disgrace to beating a team in 5. You don't have to sweep every series. Okay, you don't have anything to prove at this point. The
Nets, they didn't sweep the Celtics, so whatever.
No. I mean, listen, give the Celtics credit where credit is due. Jason Tatum scored 50 points, and they were able to win a very close game. Okay,
and this game not over yet.
No, but I mean, listen, if somebody plays out of their mind, what are you going to do? If your best player is banged up a little bit, you're not going to bring him in just because you want to sweep the series. It's not like you've got a beef with the Washington Wizards that you want to embarrass them and sweep them. It doesn't matter if you beat them in 4 or if you beat them in 5. What's the difference? Next round you're going to play Atlanta, which you are a superior team to, and you're gonna beat them. You may beat them in 4 and 5 or 6. I mean, but what's the difference? It doesn't matter how you get there. All you want to do is make sure you get there. Okay, the Nets and Bucks are going to play a 6 to 7 game series. You know that. Yeah, you know that's coming. So, I mean, if you don't get every possible day rest you can, so what? It shouldn't matter.
Anyway, thank you, Frank, for producing the show. Thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, Body Check Wellness. Thank you to everyone who liked, commented, shared, subscribed to the show. Same time, same place, next Monday night. Until then, peace out, everybody.